Hey everyone, happy Saturday, June 24th. It's 10:46 at night right now. Hope everyone had an awesome day. I know I did. Got to spend a lot of time outside today, which was awesome. And that's kind of why I'm making this video tonight. I was at the gym earlier today and I was listening to the All In podcast like I do every week. Those guys are awesome. Always love hearing the current events and topics and news that they go over. And as I'm listening to it, I'm expecting to hear like their final topics as the going over maybe the submarine or the sub that got, that wild story that took over the news this week, but it wasn't. And it was about a guy, it was about Ford getting a loan from the Department of Energy, and they mentioned Jigar Shah, which he is an awesome guy. He is an OG from the energy industry, and just getting to see what he's done at the Department of Energy is amazing. But this is a guy that's just my own personal story of him. Like over 10 years ago, I was at one of my first solar conferences in Buffalo, and we're there in Buffalo, and this guy goes on stage and he's talking about the power purchase agreement and how companies can get solar on their roof, not have to pay anything for it, and save. Jigger was the first one that I know that implemented the PPA. And that revolutionized the energy industry because people that wanted to go solar couldn't go solar and didn't have that huge upfront cost to go solar. So I'll share my screen here. Hopefully you guys can hear it. But this is from today, what the Energy Gang was talking about with Ford getting a loan from the Department of Energy. But just to rewind a second and going back to Jigger, that was the first time I saw him on stage, and I've followed his career, and what he's been doing, which has been pretty tremendous after that. That was the first time I saw him. After that, saw him at different NYSE events, New York Solar Energy Industries Associations, and always would be really intrigued to hear what he had to say. And going back to podcast, he was on the podcast, for anyone who's in renewable energy knows, the Energy Gang podcast. I would listen to that every week with Jigger, Stephen Lacey. I totally forgot who else was on there, but I know Perpa, or what industry she was. She would always refer back to with utilities, but just a cool guy. And this is what I heard on the All In podcast today when I was listening to it. I just want to share this a second. So hopefully you guys can hear it.
Issued a conditional $9.2 billion loan from the U.S. Department of Energy to build out three EV battery factories. Specifically, the loan is coming through the Department of Energy's LPO. That's the loan program's office. They've got about $400 billion to lend out. You might remember this from 2010 when they gave Solyndra.
It's so frustrating always hearing about this Solyndra loan. They like hold this over the Department of Energy's head every time they talk about this program. I don't know if it's just me from being in solar, but it's just every time it's a guarantee. When you talk about the Department of Energy and their loan program, they're bound to bring up the Solyndra loan. It's just guaranteed.
A123 batteries, which eventually went bankrupt and got bought by a Chinese company, I believe, and Tesla, a $465 million loan. Tesla paid it back. The other two didn't. Tesla paid it back with interest. Jigar Shah, the director of the loan program office, described the lending moves.
That's what perked my ears up today when I'm listening to that. And you're working out, you're doing a sled push, and then you hear that, like Jigar Shah, know that guy from the solar industry.
As a way to onshore and reshore manufacturing. The goal of the program is not innovation, but to get more of the supply chain to be manufactured in the U.S. I guess some people are criticizing this just out of the gate with why should we be giving these loans to
So that's what they're talking about. They go into it a little more there. They debate it. Is this loan, is it worth the Department of Energy giving these loans out? I love what Chamath says right after it. He talks about the wars that we're in Ukraine and everywhere else in the world, and how literally this $9.2 billion loan is just Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of that war. That's how much it costs to be in there. So why not let it go to electrifying the United States and creating energy independence, which is huge. Once we get to energy independence, we're out of these wars, and we're in a better position as all Americans when we have energy independence. So I thought that was really cool to see. The other article that was in here, I'll share this tab here. This is in CleanTechnica, and this kind of goes over the article a little more in depth. Not sure if you could hear it, but I have Snoop Dogg that could read this article for us. So Snoop, hopefully you could take it away.
The U.S. Department of Energy Loan Program Office has approved a $9.2 billion conditional loan for Blue Oval SK, a joint venture between Ford and SK On. The money is earmarked for the construction of 3 battery factories in the U.S., 1 in Tennessee and 2 in Kentucky. The factories are expected to provide jobs for 5,000 hard-working American construction workers and employ 7,500 hard-working Americans once they begin operations. Combined, the total output from the 3 factories is expected to be 120 GWh of batteries each year to power future Ford and Lincoln electric vehicles. All those EVs, once they get into the hands of customers, are expected to displace 455 million gallons of gasoline per year for the lifetime of the vehicles powered by these batteries, according to a DOE press release.
So I'll leave it there, and I'll leave those articles and links down below to the All In podcast, to that CleanTechnica article. This is, I'll actually share this one tab here as well. But this is who we're talking about, Jigar Shah, who I was referring to before. It's a picture of him, but he's in director of the loan programs at the DOE, and Jigar Shah, most recently co-founder and president at Generate Capital, where he's focused on helping entrepreneurs accelerate decarbonization solutions through the use of low-cost infrastructure as a service financing. Prior to Generate Capital, Shah founded SunEdison. That's what I was referring back to, where he created the power purchase agreement where you didn't have to pay for solar anymore. You could finance it, and that financing would be cheaper than your current utility bill. Really, I mean, this was revolutionary in solar. The company that pioneered pay-as-you-save solar financing. After SunEdison, Shah served as the founding CEO of the Carbon War Room. So I'll leave those links there as well, so you guys could check them out in the description below. The other thing that I see happening right now that Ford got a loan for $9.2 billion for building these 3 battery plants with SK, is the same thing that happened a couple weeks ago. Ford partnered with Tesla on using their NACS charger, and that was huge. That was the first domino to drop in everybody using Tesla's charging infrastructure, which is so much better than Electrify America and all of these other DC fast chargers that are unreliable. And shortly after Ford did that, GM followed suit a week later, and then Rivian followed suit shortly after that. So I expect announcements from probably GM and Rivian that they're going to be going after DOE loans as well to build out their battery plans. So yeah, just wanted to give you my experience in understanding a little bit about the DOE loan program, about Jigar, who's behind the scenes and what a good guy he is, and also just about probably other manufacturers going after this loan as well. And if you remember, the DOE loan program gave Tesla a loan back in the day for manufacturing, which was, as Elon says, he paid that back in full, and that was critical to them being successful at a time they needed it. So Signing out. Have a great night, everybody.